Hi everyone, Jamie Madison here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be doing the Greeting Farm Winter is Here. This was a Stamp Timber collection stamp set. So in order for us to get started, I'm going to go ahead and stamp this on some Bristol Smooth cardstock. I'm using my Gina K Designs amalgam ink to stamp this on. And I'm going to be stamping the girl, the boy, and the Christmas tree. After I have that stamped down, I'm going to go ahead and color this. I did color these off camera because they were quite intensive coloring, so I just used my Arteza markers and colored them in. And then I went ahead and fussy cutted those out. After I fussy cut those out, I'm going to go ahead and take another piece of my Bristol Smooth cardstock. I'm going to go in with my Distress ink so I can have a wintry background. So the Distress inks that I used to do this wintry background, I first started with the Salty Ocean, and I just blended that through to get like a base layer. Then I went in with Broken China and just kind of went around the edges and in the middle and just kind of did like a little blending, a little bit of everywhere, almost like a galaxy in a way, but just with blues and greens. Then I went in with my Lucky Clover just to kind of deepen up the color, and then I finished it with my Cracked Pistachio. After I had those colors blended that I liked, I went ahead and took my die cut. This is the Lawn Fawn Custom Crafty Dies. This is the Hills and the Hills and Stitch Hillside border. And I went ahead and cut this out on some Bristol Smooth cardstock as well. I went ahead and used Bristol for all of these just so it would match up nicely. And I like the white of the Bristol and how easy it blends. So after I got those two snowy edges die cut out, I went in with this gray. This is a pumice stone gray, but I did not like it at all. It just wasn't working. But I just went ahead and blended in, and it would have worked. I mean, I could have kept it the way it was. But I'm going to show you what I did instead. This is another reason why I like this Bristol Smooth paper, is because if you do something like I just did and I blended some ink on the paper and I wasn't really feeling the colors, I went ahead and grabbed my other Distress ink. This is Shaded Lilac. I just took some water on my paper towel and it like wipes right up because it wasn't done drying yet. So then I could just go in with that Shaded Lilac and just blend that back up on top. And the gray is pretty much gone, so I didn't have to worry about it or recut anything. I do tap off the extra onto my mat and then kind of blend it, especially when I'm doing a really light blend. I don't want too much color, but I thought the purple would look really good for the snow. To me, snow is never just white. It usually is blue or purple or has some kind of tint to it. So I thought the purple would look really well, especially with the blue-green background. So after I had those blended, I went ahead and glued them down. And to glue them down, I used my trusty Tombow multi-liquid glue. And I like using the liquid glue because it gives me a little bit of time to move it around into the spot that I like. It doesn't dry too fast, but it does dry quite quickly, just not too quickly. It was starting to dry at the very end, so I was like, well, that's going to have to be right where it needs to be, and it worked out fine. Went ahead and added my second snowy hill or snowy drift area down. And then I decided to get my little figures that I cut out and see where I wanted to place them. I knew I wanted to place the girl in the background with the Christmas tree, and I wanted the boy up front. I went ahead and glued her down and kind of just stuck her in the snow as well. Went ahead and put my acrylic black on top of her just to weigh her down for a few minutes, so it gave that glue time to dry so she wouldn't pop up off of the background. With the Distress ink, when it's not quite dry, glue doesn't like to stick to it very well. So you just got to give it just a few minutes to adhere, and it's good. It's not going to come off. Did the same thing with my Christmas tree. I just stuck it in that snow drift like she and the Christmas tree was in the background, and he was just leaving or coming. I could have popped him up with some foam tape after I finished this card. I thought about it, but I already had him glued down and he was not going anywhere because I did want him to be a focus, like up in the center. But I wanted this card to be able to send easily in the mail, so I wanted us to keep this like a one-dimensional flat card. I went ahead and took my purple and my Arteza markers, and I used the lavender which is like a 162. And I just put that on my mat, used some water. Just because we did the purple in the background on the snow, I figured for his shadow should be purple as well. So I went ahead and just watered that down and just added a little bit under him and her to give it a little bit of a shadow so it didn't look like he was just floating. I then went in with my stamp set this is the honeybee stamps that I just got recently, and this is the Merry Christmas. I do have the die set for this stamp set as well, but I went ahead and just used that. I did use my VersaFine since I did stamp this on some ink background. The VersaFine is nice and dark, and it works really well when you're stamping over a background like this. I stamped from Our Family to Yours, and then I just took my micron pen and just put a couple dots because I'm going to have a sentiment inside as well. I went a little crazy with the glue here. I did use my Gina K Connects glue, and I just kind of went crazy. I wanted to be like a snow, like blizzard or snow, lots of snow on this card, and I kind of went overboard. They might just be in a blizzard. That's pretty much what they're in. It's just absolutely crazy snow everywhere. I should have went less is more with this card, but you can't take back what you put down, so we just went with it. I could have did like some Nuvo drops instead of these little snowflake sequins. I got these snowy sequins from Crafting with Ellie on Instagram. The ones I'm using are called Snowy Night. Then after I had that finished, I went ahead and taped that down with my tape runner to my card base. This is just a A2 size card, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Went ahead and taped that down with my tape runner, like I said, and made sure that that wasn't going to go anywhere. Opened up my card so I could stamp in my sentiment. This is the same stamp set that we used for the front of the card from Honeybee Stamps, and this just says Merry Christmas. I went ahead and used my Gina K for this one because it dries a little bit quicker on this Bristol Smooth. I ended up getting a little bit of ink at the very top, but I wasn't going to worry about it. We'll just pretend it was never there. Then I took from this little stamp set that I had from these little guys. They had some little ornaments and candy canes from the Greeting Farm Winter is Here, and I stamped those down in the inside of the card. I just kind of wanted to decorate a little bit. I did mess up on one of the ornaments. I didn't get the little hook part of it, so I tried to line up as best as I could. I could have took a pen and went in there and fixed it myself, but I tried my stamping abilities. Just took my Arteza markers in red and filled in my candy canes, kind of did different coordinations of them. Then I just took a green. This one's a darker green because I wanted to have a little bit of shading, and then I end up messing up there at the very end on that little ornament. Then I took a lighter green to do the rest of the shading. Now this is not on Bristol Smooth paper, so it's really hard for me to blend with my Arteza markers on this cardstock. This is a 110-pound Michaels cardstock. It's just my cardstock base. This is not what I use to do my blending, so it kind of grabs my marker and sometimes it makes it kind of bleed outside the line, so I gotta be a little bit careful. I tried to take my white pen and just blend that out, but it just wasn't working, so I just kind of left it alone. Went ahead and added some little white highlights to those ornaments and then colored in the tops with my red that we used for the candy cane. After that, our card is completely done. Like I said, I went a little bit crazy with the snowflakes, but it turned out cute after all. I think it's cute. And it's going to be mailed to one of my friends or family members. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate all of you, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye!